Dialed Tone is ready to take the tigerfish out to do some fishing with today's game, the Black Bass, for your NES. Let's go ahead and take the Black Bass. Let's pop it in my NES and see how it holds up today. Let's go to the game. The Black Bass was published by Hot B and carries a copyright year of 1989. It's actually the second game in the Black Bass series, which would be followed up with the Blue Marlin on the NES and would see entries on several other systems for the next 20 years after its release. The first game in the series was also called the Black Bass, but was only released on the MSX and Famicom in Japan, which explains why this game is called the Black Bass USA on the title screen and is called Black Bass 2 in Japan. The back of the box says the following: "The rumor is true that they will open the International Anglers Fishing Tournament with selected 200 professional anglers at your NES. The shadow of the fish appears from the depths of the lake. This is a real simulation game between man and fish. The Black Bass makes a fantasy dreamy competition come true. The Black Bass will jump up and try to hide at the bottom of the trees in 4 different lakes. Now the tournament is ready to start." The Black Bass is a fishing game for one player only with one standard mode of difficulty. The game is separated into 12 separate tournaments with varying locations and hours. You start in Class C for players ranked from 200 to 101 at Lake Amada. If you finish in the top 5 of your class, you can move up to Class B for players ranked 100 to 51 at Japan Lake. If you finish again in the top 5, you can move to Class A for players ranked from 50 to number 1, which alternates between Lake Moore and Sand Lake. As the classes go up, so does the opportunity to get larger bass. Do poorly and you can actually go down in class. When you start a tournament, you'll be shown the date and hours of the tournament and the weather. On the main map, you can select your fishing location using the D-pad and the A button. There will only be a small handful of spots that will have the possibility for the largest black bass in the lake. They are usually found on the edges by some sort of landmark or in a corner. These locations also have unique graphics when you go to fish, usually consisting of rocks or plant life. If you go to a location with nothing but water, you'll probably want to move. Once at a location, you can fish. You aim with the D-pad and cast using the A button to start and stop a power meter. Once your lure is in the air, you can press B to thumb your line, acting as a brake. The manual recommends placing your lure near obstacles to catch the biggest bass. It is possible to lose your lure by throwing it off screen. You can also get caught in plants, which will require you to press A and B together to get your lure back. Once in the water, you can also press A and B together to quickly reel in essence ending your attempt. Otherwise, you can move the lure by using up, left, and right on the D-pad and pressing A to reel it in a little bit. You'll want to get into a rhythm of mixing up these 4 moves to attract fish. For instance, you could press up, left, right, and then A for a second, and then repeat the 4 steps as one option. If done well, you will attract a fish in the form of a shadow. Once it approaches your lure, it will either retreat or you will hook it. Once hooked, you can either press select to try to unhook it or try to reel it in. You can catch other fish like trout and pike, but since this is a black bass tournament, they don't count at all no matter what their size, meaning you'll want to try to unhook them as quickly as possible. In Class A, you can always unhook the fish, but in Classes B and C, you'll sometimes not be able to unhook the fish, having a tougher time in Class C than in Class B. It's the green bass you'll want to try to snag, especially the bigger ones. To reel it in, you press A, using the D-pad to try to direct the fish, and the B button to thumb your line, acting like a brake of sorts. However, your line can break if you put too much pressure on it. As you reel it in, you may hear a series of bells letting you know that you're in a danger zone, and if you continue, you may break your line, losing the lure along with the fish. You You can also lose your lure if the fish is able to go off screen, so you'll want to keep them away from the edges and the very top and not let them go too deep. Your battle with the fish will often involve several stops and starts of reeling. On the bottom left is a fish strength meter. As you battle, he can slowly waste away to nothing but bones. As he gets weaker, you should be able to make more progress, but even a fish of just bones can still put up a fight and you can still break your line. Sometimes the fish will jump. When he does, you'll want to not press anything until he lands to reduce the chance that you will lose the fish or your lure. In order to catch the fish, you must bring him all the way to the center bottom, close to the surface. If you do so, you will automatically get him with a net and see a weigh-in screen letting you know the results. Whether you catch a fish, reel in all the way, or lose a lure, you'll go to a menu screen where you can select a new lure, get data on the point you're on, see your results for the day, move to a new spot, cast again, or end your tournament early, which is typically not recommended. You have a varying selection of lures that can range in color. The higher the class, the more lures you will have available. The manual suggests that some colors work better than others depending on the weather, saying that silver works best on clear days. It also says that float lures like the pencil, frog, and shallow runner work best early and late in the day, while the sink lures like the spinner and worm work best in the middle of the day when the bass tend to be deeper in the water. Honestly, I don't know how much these tips really matter, but they are definitely worth trying. I also suggest moving from time to time on the map for the best results. The map screen also shows the time. The clock seems to only move while on the fishing screen and is invisible during that time. You will be notified when the tournament is over, and it's entirely possible that it will end in the middle of a fishing battle. When the tournament is over, you can look at your results for the day, look at your total record, go home to just end your game without getting a password, or pick ceremony to see your results for the day. If you finish in the top 5, you will get a congratulatory screen. Then you'll get a password no matter where you finish to save your progress, which honestly isn't too bad, but you do need to make sure not to confuse O's and zeros, 5s and S's, and 1s and I's. If it is the last tournament day of the year, the game will end with no password. From the main menu, you can use the password to pick up where you left off or see your record. The manual also shows how to play with a special mode. By using the name HB Max, you will be able to see new meters when fishing. While your lure is in the water, you can see a number at the bottom. The higher the number, the more desirable the lure will be to fish, although it does not guarantee that a fish will take your lure. When you hook a fish, the number will show the strain on your line. If it reaches around 13, your line will snap. On the right will be a meter showing the fish getting weaker in more detail. The longer the line, the weaker the fish. This is very helpful in learning the game, and you can even use it with passwords. Graphically speaking, I think this is an average to below average looking NES game for the time it came out, with some of the scenery being confusing of what exactly it is and whether it's in or above the water. Sound-wise, while some of the sounds from the fishing section can be irritating, they become white noise kind of fast, and some of the music is actually kind of nice. Family-friendly wise, the game would most likely receive an E for Everyone rating if released today. Currently at PriceCharting.com, the game has a value of $6 loose, $27 complete, and $158 new. So what do I think of the Black Bass? First of all, I believe this is a landmark fishing video game. Before this game, most console gamers probably experienced the simple Atari 2600 game Fishing Derby. This game really expanded the genre for players by allowing them to select lures, locations, and even taking weather into consideration. That's not to say the transition was perfect. During the game, you have no idea how you're doing against other computer-controlled players, and it's not clear what's more important, average weight or the number of fish. And playing one day of the tournament takes about 50 minutes, give or take, which felt a bit on the long side to me. It's also not clear how much the lure selection and placement favor you compared to just simple luck. I even struggled with the largest bass quite a bit. Sometimes I managed to snag them after a long battle, other times it felt like there was an unstoppable tank on my line. Was it what I was doing, or was it simply random if I truly had a chance or not? I don't know. This inconsistency led to some frustration. But I suppose you could say that's how fishing can feel in real life. And yes, I'm spelling real, R-E-E-L, in this instance. However, despite many of these criticisms, I actually really like this game. At times it can be relaxing and even addictive, trying to better your technique and get a larger fish. And after I got over the larger part of the learning curve, I looked forward to some fishing battles with large bass. While I still got frustrated at times playing the game, it's enjoyable enough that I look forward to playing it more in the future and can easily recommend it. So where am I going to rank the black bass? Believe it or not, I'm putting it in my current top 10 among other NES games I've previously reviewed. I do like Donkey Kong Jr. more at 8, but I will give this an edge over another game I enjoy, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, at 9. So out of the 66 games that are now ranked for the NES, the black bass is reeling into the 9th position. The black bass is not only a groundbreaking console fishing game, but can be fun for fishing game fans who have the patience to learn it. But that's just what I think. What do you think? Do you have any memories of this game growing up? Do you still like it today? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy videos such as this one and you want to support my work, please click like and subscribe, drop a comment below, and for mega supporters, either become a channel member or sign up at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day and look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care everybody, especially when reeling in a monster bass.